Hey everybody, it's Scottye from Opinions and Attitudes. This is my weekly video blog that hasn't been weekly so far, and I apologize for that. I've had some computer problems, and I had to take care of those, and it took me about 2 weeks to try a bunch of things and see what worked and what didn't, and ultimately I had to reformat, and everyone knows that that's a pain. I still don't have all my software back on the computer and running the way I want it, so that's frustrating. But now I've got the computer running as well as it can. It's on an older machine, so it's going to be a little slow, but that's fine. It does what I need it to do. I wanted to talk to you about the show a little bit, do a little housekeeping, as a professor of mine used to call it. We're sorry that we didn't get the show out last week. It's totally my fault. I messed up the audio on my end of things when we were recording, and I couldn't save it. And I apologize to Greg and to everybody for that. And we were going to try to record Tuesday, but we had a scheduling conflict and couldn't, so we just decided to do the show, episode 6, like we always would, which we record on Friday, most of you know, and the show comes up on Saturday. So that's how it's going to be. And we apologize for that gap between shows, but we hope you'll stick around and still listen to the show with us. And we appreciate everyone who does listen. Now, I also wanted to talk about some things that are going to be coming up in the next few weeks to a month. We're going to put up a donations page. We're doing that basically because we need to start thinking about different and better recording equipment, and some of it's pretty expensive, but it's going to be necessary. And if you guys could help us improve the podcast that way, we would appreciate it. We're going to have different types of donations, and we hope that some of you will donate, but we understand that most people are struggling right now. So just put the word out for the show. Post about it on Facebook. Talk about it on Twitter. Tell your friends about it. Just get the word out there so that we can get more listeners and maybe generate some more traffic. Get some of those donations when we put that donation page up, and then we'll be able to get the equipment that we need, because right now we've got just cheapo equipment that we record with, and it's working okay. But as we grow as a podcast, we want to sound more professional. Right now, we're what's called amateur podcasters, and we want to get up to the level of professional. So we're journeymen right now, and we're bridging that gap between amateur and professional podcasters, and I'm learning as much as I can as I go along. I can't learn it all in a week or 2 weeks. It takes time. Different issues come up, like the audio recording. I just had an issue with Skype. That's what we talked through, and it automatically selects the volume of your mic, and it messed mine up, and I cut out completely a couple times, and I apologize for that. That's totally my fault. So hopefully you guys will forgive me for that and let me make it up to you by producing the best podcast that we can. And Greg and I feel like we've got a pretty solid show. There are things that we want to do to improve the show, and we're going to be doing that. It's just that Greg is super busy with school right now, and I'm in the process of getting into grad school and doing things like that. So we have a limited amount of time that we can work on the show. But we put 110% in the show when we work on it. And we always make time for the show. And we do the show, yeah, we do it for us, but we do it for the people that listen too. And then we're proud of the fact that we have some loyal listeners. We're not a huge show by any means, but we have an audience. And be honest with you, I love you guys. It makes me happy that you find what Greg and I say worth listening to, worth giving an hour of your time to listen to, and we appreciate that a great deal. More than you guys will ever know, more than we can ever say. We appreciate you, and we just want to build the audience and our community to get in the trenches with us and expand the show. And the easiest way to do that is just to tell people about the show. And I know I harp on that a lot, but that's the easiest way. Get people to listen to our show. And, some people are going to like it, some people aren't going to like it, and that's fine. I don't care about those people that don't like it. I care about the people who listen and do like it. And I care about the ideas they have to make the show better. That's what I want to do. That's who I want to hear from. I don't want to hear from people who say, oh, you're fat and your show sucks, blah, 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 blah. Don't care about you. You can send me all the emails or tweets, whatever you want. I'm not going to listen to people who say, oh, you're fat, you're stupid, blah, 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 blah. No. But if somebody listens to the show, somebody says, the show could use this, or would you mind changing the podcast this way? We're going to take those into consideration. And if we feel that they're good ideas, and most of the ideas that we've had so far, most of the ideas that the fans have given us so far have been good ideas, and we've incorporated most of them. So keep those ideas coming. But enough about the show, enough housekeeping, as Dr. Lewis would say. I want to talk about something very important to me on this inaugural episode of Scottye's Stump. I want to talk about Roger Ebert. Most of you know, probably everyone knows, he died last week. And he was sort of a big deal in the film critic world. A lot of people have been saying that he's the most influential film critic of all time. And he was great. I watched him pretty much all of my life up until he lost his voice to cancer. I watched Siskel and Ebert as a kid. They reviewed tons of movies I was interested in. They gave keen insight as I learned more about movies. I learned a lot from Roger Ebert about film, what makes a good film. And I think I'm always going to be learning about what makes good film, because I'm just sort of an amateur film buff. I don't know the technicalities of filmmaking per se. So Roger Ebert really sort of informed me in terms of what constitutes a good film. And yeah, I like a lot of movies that he didn't like, and I don't like some movies that he did like. Because films are, like every other art, subjective. It's a matter of opinion, largely. There are some technical details that everyone can agree on that makes good film making, but that doesn't necessarily lead to a good film. So I like a lot of movies that some people don't like. I'll give you an example. I liked the Daredevil movie just because I liked Daredevil, and I thought it was a pretty decent adaptation, especially the director's cut. But I'm digressing a little bit. Roger Ebert, he was really important to me for more than just his film criticism. He was a pretty staunch liberal, and he wrote a lot of eloquent articles in favor of things that I'm passionate about, like universal health care. He wrote about the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan. He was a prolific writer. But more importantly, he was an inspirational man. When he was diagnosed with cancer in 2006, and when he lost his voice and had surgery that disfigured him, he did not run and hide. He didn't shut himself off from the world. In fact, in some ways, he put himself further out there. He did some of his best writing, some of his best work as a writer and film critic after he lost his speaking voice. And that's tremendously inspiring to me. The man was tremendously inspiring to me. And I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss that eloquent, intelligent voice that he had for so many years. And I wish he hadn't died. He lived a good life. He lived an example of what constitutes a good life philosophically, I think, because he never let the obstacles he faced compromise the integrity of his life. And that's an amazing accomplishment, an inspiring accomplishment that we should all look up to. Even if you didn't like him, you should look at the way he handled his illness and the grace that he handled it with and the strength he displayed and find inspiration from that. I know I do. There are so many people I find inspiration from, and I'm constantly looking for that inspiration. And Roger Ebert was a very inspirational figure to me. And I hope, if there's an afterlife or if there's not, I just hope the man is at peace. He suffered, and now he doesn't have to anymore. Roger, I think I speak for Greg when I say thumbs up to you, sir. And rest in peace.